Good morning, Janice.
Good morning.
Let's do another fun one today, yeah?
Fantastic. I'm ready.
This today we'll be talking about 19 celebrities that left utterly strange requests for their loved ones in their wills. Now, this comes from a blog called moneyversed.com, the moneyversed.com, and was written by Paul Fox, excuse me. Thank you for writing this great article. It's 19 items, so we're going to jump right into it, all right? Can you get us started, Janice?
Absolutely. Real quick, this one was really funny because, it's interesting stuff you never would have learned. And I felt like I was taking a history lesson because I don't know about you. I kind of had to Google some of these perfs before we talked about them.
Yeah, me too.
So it was like a little refresher course. Anyway, number one, William Shakespeare. He left his second best bed to his wife. My question, why not the first one, but his bed? I found that very interesting that he would think of that in his will.
It feels like that's like a poetic message, but I don't get it.
I don't either. Like I thought of something funny like too bad or not too bad, too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little interesting. Then we have Leona Hensley, the hotel owner who earned the nickname of the Queen of Mean.
Mm.
She left $12 million to her dog, who was named Trouble. And she only left $10 million to her brother and $5 million to her grandson.
I have something to add to that. I don't know how the law was back then, but in New York, at least, pet trusts can only last, I think, is it 20 years at the most? So basically, unless they found a way to spend $12 million on a dog over that relatively short amount of time, the leftover money went to a human at some point.
That's great news.
Yeah.
I'm sure the grandson felt really fabulous that the dog got $7 million more originally. I don't know about you. I know my dog's expensive, but not $12 million expensive. Number three, Charles Dickens. He said that at his funeral, he forbids mourners from attending if they wore anything he considered, quote, revoltingly absurd, including black bows, cloaks, or the most hideous articles of clothing of all, scarves. There you have it.
Yeah, I don't get that. There must be a story behind that, but I have no idea.
There's got to be. Yes. So you couldn't go to his funeral if you were wearing a scarf. Now, was someone standing outside going, you have a scarf, you have to leave to the right, to the left, like kicking people out?
That brings up a good point. When people try to do sort of these interesting or esoteric conditions in their wills, they got to think about what is how will that be enforced, right?
Right.
Some of these things are just kind of like, this is my wish, but
yeah, they have
it
like
might
a
not
scarf
happen.
police
Yeah.
standing outside, like making sure you're dressed appropriately. That's a tough one.
All right, let me jump in here. I'm going to do number 4 of the 19 celebrity wills that made history with their demands. Number 4 is Harry Houdini, the mythical and legendary magician. He left his wife, Bess, a secret code that he claimed would allow her to contact him from beyond the grave. Ooh. And on top of that, he died on Halloween. So that makes it, like extra spooky. So
Right.
every year the wife Bess would have a seance to try to use the magic or secret code to connect with him. But apparently it didn't work. So
It did work.
psych.
A for effort.
Yeah. All right. Number 5 is Napoleon Bonaparte, the French leader, who was, of course, known for his fighting spirit and sometimes his eccentric qualities. And, in keeping with that, he wanted his head to be shaved once he passed away so his friends could share it evenly. I don't get that. How would shaving his head make it easier to share amongst his friends?
Was he shaving and giving the shavings out as parting gifts?
Like the hair?
Maybe. I do know I love a lot of my friends, but I really don't want their hair.
I'm just a little lost on how shaving and sharing is connected. So
Yeah.
moving on.
Moving. Next.
Number 6 is Gene Roddenberry. Our nerd test. All right. Remaining on brand as the creator of Star Trek, even in death. So Gene Roddenberry is the creator of Star Trek. He requested to be cremated and have his ashes sent into space. That's really awesome, by the way. He passed away in 1991. And I guess the technology didn't exist until 1997 when his wish was actually fulfilled, and his ashes were sent into space on a satellite orbiting Earth. So good for him. He got his final
Kind of
wish.
cool. I mean, who could say they went to space?
So I'm thinking of
Pretty
like
neat.
all these NASA and congressional budgeters thinking, oh, we have limited amounts of things we can send into space. And then this request comes up, but all of them are probably Star Trek geeks like, no, we got to do this one.
We got to do it. But I wonder if he probably had to pay a good amount, I would imagine, for that.
Oh, no way. He's a national treasure. He should.
Well,
get
that's
that.
true. He is one of the ones I didn't have to Google on this list because it's, I mean, Star Trek creator. So I'll jump in here with number 7 with Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's a more recent one. He passed away in 2014. He disliked the idea of his children becoming trust fund kids, so he left all of his money to his girlfriend in his will. And then even stranger, they say, is that he asked for his son to be raised in 3 different cities: Chicago, San Francisco, and New York. So this one to me may not seem utterly strange. I just really hope he had a really good plan for all of this. It seems a little complicated.
Yeah, the whole point of the trust. So right now, based on this article, I'm not personally familiar with the case. He gave the money to his girlfriend with no sort of legal obligation for her to actually spend it on the son Cooper, because that's what a trust is, where somebody else controls the money for the benefit of somebody else. So if there's no trust, he's just this is like a word pun, like he's trusting his girlfriend to
Right.
actually do what she said. So I don't know if everyone's willing to do that.
Right. So, but I just hope there was a good plan.
I mean, to be clear, she could just take the money and not give a dime to Cooper, and that's that.
Right. It could be interesting. That'd be an interesting one to look at further. Then number 8 talks about John B. Kelly. So he won 3 Olympic gold medals actually it doesn't say gold, just 3 Olympic medals for rowing. His daughter was actress Grace Kelly, who later became the Princess of Monaco.
I think it's
In his
Monaco.
will, what is it?
I think it's Monaco.
Monaco. Yeah.
You might be right. I don't know.
I don't know, but she's a princess. But in his will, he said that he didn't want to bankrupt the Principality of Monaco with the bills about her clothing. She must have had some very expensive taste if he was going to continue to pay for the clothing after he passed. So they didn't bankrupt.
So I think
which
it's
he
worth
was
noting, it doesn't say that he left money to help avoid that. It's like he just took a shot at his daughter.
It's very true. She must have some very exquisite taste if that is what he was thinking when he was preparing for, the end of life.
But it's not like he said, I leave, $10,000 towards her clothing to avoid this situation. He just kind of says it like he's just insulting her.
Yeah, they might have had a few. Maybe should use some therapy sessions, maybe some family therapy, I think, beforehand.
I'm sure we're missing something.
We definitely are. I feel with some of these, we could really look into them and have a lot of fun if you dig in. So Eleanor Ricci, she's heiress. She left $4.5 million to her dogs in 1968, which is a lot. However, they had to be distributed throughout 150 dogs.
That's a lot of dogs.
So that's a lot of dogs. I could see having to care for them would probably cost quite a bit of money as compared to the one earlier where they just had one.
Janice, didn't I tell you about that case where we had a decedent who had his own habitat for cats and we had to relocate? I think it was like about 120 cats. And I tell you what, we didn't have $4.5 million to work with.
No. And how was that complicated?
Yeah, it was pretty complicated. Gina took care of all that. So
Oh, wow. And then if I could talk about the next one, because this one just makes me laugh.
go for it.
Fred Bauer, the Pringles founder. He asked for his body to be cremated and stored in a Pringles can. And then amazingly, his family did it. I don't know about you, but I've heard of some very strange things. This one's definitely different.
You would think this would make you the image of a Pringle can out there with somebody's ashes would sort of
Right?
ruin your
That's
appetite.
what you're going to think about when you pick up a Pringles can.
Yeah, well, just actually, this is a testament to how good Pringles are. It just made me want some Pringles.
Okay, that's true. That's true. We're probably going to go pick some up later. But you are still going to think about the fact that maybe he's still in this Pringles can.
Yeah, I'll be thinking about it while I'm eating some Pringles.
Right, exactly. All right, and back to you.
All right. So we're going over the 19 celebrity wills that made history with their demands. Number 11 is William Randolph Hearst. He was a mogul, and he was uncomfortable with the rumors that he had illegitimate children. So in an attempt to, get rid of that rumor, I guess, he said that anyone who could prove that they were his child would still only get $1. That's actually a really good deterrent. I actually like that idea. From a lawyer's perspective, yeah.
They're saying, go ahead, figure it out. Do you know how much that would cost to prove? And you're going to get $1.
That guy had a smart attorney. That was a good move.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Number 12, Dusty Springfield. I mean, it says here that she's a legendary pop singer. I am not familiar. Are you familiar?
Yeah. So the song, The Son of a Preacher Man.
Oh, I know that song.
Kind of, yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. So anyway, she left a request in her will for her, God, a lot of pets, for her cat Nicholas. It was asked for him to be serenaded by her old records in a special indoor treehouse, sleeping alongside her old pillow and nightgown. I'm sorry, I'm not a pet guy, so this all seems absurd to me.
Yeah.
And even be fed imported baby food. Oh, is this normal, Janice?
Okay. We have pets, probably too many of them. I can tell you that none of them get that sort of treatment, and they are very well kept.
Oh, wait, there's one more part. That part of the will was that her cat Nicholas was supposed to marry another friend's cat. How about that? Have you been to a cat wedding? Anything like that?
I haven't. I actually have not even, I don't have one on the list, but I probably should look into it. I think that would be fun.
Okay.
Very bizarre, right? That's
Yes.
exactly the whole statement of it is just crazy.
Oh,
Funny,
honey, what are they registered? I mean, I don't get it.
Did Bed Bath and Beyond or Macy's? Is it like?
All right, number 13.
Oh boy.
I think this one is fake news, but I could be wrong. But all right, Tupac Shakur. His song "Black Jesus," I'm not familiar with that one, seemed to serve as a will of sorts, and he expressed his desire in the song for his friends to smoke his ashes. So that part I can kind of believe, I guess. I mean, it seems consistent with
I mean,
his
when
lyrics.
you're singing, you can make up whatever, right?
And then, sure enough, according to the article, his friends gathered his ashes into a joint and smoked it. I do not believe this. I'm sorry.
I would love to see the Snopes factors on this. Like, is it actually true? Is there proof? And what kind of friends would smoke you?
Isn't there like just in terms of, aside from believable or not, wouldn't there be like a health issue with that? I don't know.
One would think, and I have no medical degree except for Google, and I would think that would be bad for you.
Anyway, back to you, Janice.
Moving on. So next we come to Mickey Rooney. So, I mean, we all know Mickey Rooney. But when he passed, he only had $80,000 to his name in 2014. Now, when you think about what he's done, that is a relatively small amount. But he left none of it to his wife and children, and they did not even contest it. My question, this doesn't talk about it, where did it go? Although it's a very small amount, it had to have gone somewhere.
I don't know who Mickey Rooney is.
Oh, silver screen actor. Oh, little guy. You'll have to Google him. And then you'll go, oh, yeah, I know who that is.
One of those guys.
He's one of those faces, one of those faces when you go, oh, yeah. But yes, I'd like to know where it went. Even though it was kind of relatively small,
Yep.
still had to go somewhere, right? So we got Jeremy Bentham.
Yep.
He's one of the founders of utilitarianism. He asked for his body to be preserved by stuffing it with hay and having it displayed at the University of London. What I find to be very strange is his doctor, or I don't know if it's his doctor, but Dr. Thomas Smith, the executor of his will, obliged by doing it himself. Right.
So I was a philosophy major. I am familiar with Jeremy Bentham and utilitarianism. What's good for the many is what's good for all. This does not seem like a utilitarian wish.
I just want to know. The executor said, "Oh, you know what, guys, it's cool. I got this. Like, I'll do it."
So anyone who's listening online, you should go to our show notes and get the link to this article because there's a picture of Mr. Bentham stuffed in hay at the museum. I think this is him. I mean,
it's the pictures are great. You definitely look at the article.
It's very creepy.
So we have George Bernard Shaw, one of the most celebrated playwrights of his generation. When he died, he left money for the funding of a new alphabet, which he wanted to have 40 letters and be phonetic.
Are you a big fan of George Bernard Shaw?
I'm going to defer back to you or Google because I'm not sure.
My favorite play is Pygmalion. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not.
I just read the
It's
myth.
like I'm going to have to do some research, I think.
Yeah, I was an English major too. I read a lot of plays.
See. So is that where the alphabet comes in, that he wanted a new alphabet? And I wonder if what came of it?
I mean, I never heard of it until this article, so I don't think much came of
Right.
it.
So it's not mainstream, but somewhere maybe somebody tried to do it.
Whatever. It's probably somewhere where, you can speak Klingon or you can use his alphabet or something.
Right. Okay. There we go. Oh boy. But what they come up with though to put in their wills is pretty interesting.
All right, let me get in here. Again, we're talking about the 19 celebrity wills that made history with their demands, and we're down to number 17. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Ed Hedrick. Ed Hedrick was the inventor of the Frisbee. Good for you, man. That's a
Very
great
cool.
contribution to humanity. No, seriously. I mean, it's just a great toy.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think every kid at one point had a Frisbee.
And he also, I have a lot of friends who play Ultimate Frisbee, so
That's fun.
they'll go nuts over this. So he not only invented the Frisbee, but he also invented the game Frisbee Golf, and he considered Frisbee, not just a toy, but a religion. Good for you. And this is why he requested to have his ashes mixed into a special set of Frisbees, and that wish was fulfilled. So there are some, I guess,
I would, again, like the
ash
Pringles
Frisbees.
can.
Yeah.
Where are these Frisbees and who has them? And are you going to think about that when you look at the Frisbee? And wow, I wonder how this one's constructed.
Did he have a wish for what would happen to those Frisbees, or just as long as they were in a Frisbee somewhere? Yeah. I don't know.
That's a great question. Does somebody own a Frisbee with his ashes unbeknownst, or did he specifically give them to people? Again, this is a great article to make you keep going and look into it because it's
true.
fun.
Very true. All right, number 18. I don't. I'm a comic book guy, but I don't know this gentleman. Mark Grunwald. He's a beloved writer and editor over at Marvel. And again, I'm a comic guy, and doesn't ring a bell. Anyway, he asked that his ashes be mixed into the printings of the trade paperback versions of his work. What is it with this mixing your ashes kind of trend?
I don't really know. And then of course, like I'm thinking, well, did he? Where's the book? Who's got the copy? Does anyone know? It's very interesting.
That would be many, many books because
right.
The amount of ashes from My Human Remains is way more than you could jam into one trade paperback.
Yeah. Well, that is very interesting.
Janice, what would you want your ashes mixed into if you had to choose?
Oh, that's a good question. See, I would think more like just like the ocean or something that's a little less.
No, you have to pick some like object.
Oh, good question. Let's see. I do like books, but I haven't written one, so I don't know that. That's a great question.
All right, we'll come
I'm gonna
back
have to think about that. Maybe give you a good answer at one point and come up with like, I've got the answer. It's a cup. I don't know, but.
All right, let's do the last of the 19 celebrity wills that made history with their demands, and the 19th is Ben Franklin. The founding father used his will to ask his daughter Sarah to, quote, not engage the expensive, vain, and useless pastime of wearing jewels. And this had a lot to do with the fact that he left her a portrait frame with 408 jewels that he didn't want her to remove. But guess what? She did it. She removed the jewels anyway.
No, are you trying to say that a daughter didn't listen? No.
I'm trying to ignore that statement because my daughter's growing up very quickly, so I'm not looking forward to those days.
Oh, they're going to be perfect. Don't worry. It'll only happen once. Yeah.
So that's it. Those were 19 pretty ranging from, interesting to weird.
Bizarre.
requests.
Right.
Yeah. All right, cool. We'll try to do more we'll try to do more fun ones like this in the future. Yes, Janice?
Absolutely. And then you're going to place the link in there. People can go look at the pictures. They're kind of neat.
Cool. All right. Okay. Until next time, Janice. Talk to you soon.
Until next time. Chat
Bye-bye.
soon.